With Manchester City having loaned out Jack Grealish, I think it was a loan, to Everton, and in talks to finalise the sale of Savinho to Tottenham, and I think James Mcatee already having moved on somewhere as well, it's looking very, very likely that City are going to replace their wingers with someone else, or at least bring in another winger, and all roads are pointing towards Rodrygo. And starting with the player's perspective and the two clubs involved's perspective, this makes the most sense. Out of the three teams that his name, or four teams if you count Bayern Munich, the four teams that his name's been linked with ever since the news has been come out that Real Madrid would be happy to listen to offers for him, you've had Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Liverpool and Man City, but less so. The biggest name and the biggest talk was Arsenal, followed by Liverpool lately, and Bayern Munich was also in there a little bit, but they were more leaning towards other options, and Man City was just there because Man City is always an option for big names in football lately. Personally, the way I saw it, the chances of him going to these teams are as follows. Bayern Munich at the very, very bottom and least likely, just because I don't know why. There's nothing to really explain. I just never really saw him going to Bayern. Actually, more so than anything is because of the transfer. I don't think they could afford the transfer fee. With the amount Real Madrid were looking at trying to pay and his wages, I don't think they could afford that. So just financially, I thought Bayern was out of the race. Arsenal was third. They were next on the list because Rodrygo doesn't want to go to Arsenal. Rodrygo doesn't want to go to a team that doesn't win trophies, and a team that's only real accomplishment in the last 5 years is guaranteeing that their Champions League spot. That is not the level he wants to drop to. That's not the level anyone wants to drop to after you leave Real Madrid. So for that reason, I never saw Arsenal as likely. Liverpool was second on the list, and they were the next likely because they are challenging for trophies and they are looking like they're going in the right direction and they are winning trophies and they're a phenomenal team. The only problem with Liverpool, they've set all their focus onto Isak. Alexander Isak. So that's also one of the reasons I thought they were unlikely. Because I'm not thinking they're spending 250 million already, another 150 on Isak, and then they're going to get Rodrygo on top of that for another 100 million. So they were second on the list. But if they turned their attention away from Isak and went to Rodrygo, they would definitely get him. That's why they were second. The player would be happy to go there. And the first name on the list is Man City. Because Man City wins trophies. Man City stays winning trophies. Man City have a phenomenal manager, have a phenomenal team, have a phenomenal structure and build, and look like they had a bad season. But City is the most bang for your buck secure that they will be challenging. And they will be there or thereabouts. And they are lacking a left winger. And they have the money to pay for you financially, both transfer fee and wages. And also, the player has always had a little connection with City. City have, I think it was last year when City made an inquiry about Rodrygo, and both the club and Rodrygo said, we're not interested. They've always been kind of lurking around Rodrygo, and if there was any club you're going to after Real Madrid in terms of making that jump, it's Man City, because they're the only ones that really offer what Real Madrid offer in terms of financial and on the pitch in terms of chasing trophies. So it makes the most sense, and it is the most dangerous prospect of the teams linked to him. Because City, if they want him, I do think Rodrygo could be swayed. With Arsenal and Bayern, it was very unlikely. With Liverpool, there was a likelihood, but they were more interested in other options. So for that reason, I was unsure. But with City, if they make a move, and now with a very, very big gap out wide for them, with 3 players being moved on, they are lacking in the wing positions and they need someone. With that being the case, I can see it being very, very likely that they will make a move for him and that things might happen and Rodrygo would be happy to go. I've made my stance very, very clear on this. I have made my stance very, very clear on this from the beginning. I want Rodrygo to stay, and I want him to stay for 2 reasons. First of all, if Real Madrid sell him, they will not utilise the money. If they sell him for, let's say, for example, 100 million, they will not utilise that 100 million on someone else. They will not make another purchase or improve the squad. Because you will hear it from either newspapers or journalists coming out and saying, Real Madrid are not going to spend money for the sake of spending money. They will only spend money if the right player comes along. I have heard that and read that and seen that so many times over the years. It is ridiculous. It's like it's our MO in the transfer market. We're not going to spend money, but just pass this along to the fans so people don't get angry. That's what happens all the time. The second problem is that we don't have a replacement. We do not have a replacement. Our replacements for Rodrygo, in terms of big name or high profile or big game players, there's none. But in terms of availability and who we have Endrick, we have Mastantuono, we have Garcia, and then we have Brahim Diaz. Three of those, the first three, are youngsters who are showing promise and might become special, but they're not there yet. Mastantuono, if he becomes the like Lamine Yamal and he ends up taking over Real Madrid's right wing spot from 18, fantastic, phenomenal. It gives Real Madrid fans, Barcelona fans, and El Clasicos a go-to argument for the next 10 years. Who's the better young right winger? Are Mastantuono or your Lamine Yamal? But I don't see that happening. What I do see happening, and what is more likely, is just like Vinny, just like Rodrygo, and just like Endrick currently, he is going to be a young player we have purchased from South America who's going to slowly integrate into the team and slowly become the player we know he can be and the player we've bought him to be. But he won't be there straight away. Again, if he does that straight away, fantastic, but I don't see it happening. It's more likely the other thing will happen. But if a Vinny, if an Mbappe gets injured, what then? Say we're late into the season and we have PSG or Man City in the Champions League, or even Arsenal, because they kicked our butts when we played them in the quarterfinals. Say we have one of those teams in the quarterfinals or in the semi-finals, and Mbappe or Vinicius is out injured. They're out injured. And the only replacements we have to put next to the other player, whether it's Mbappe or Vinny who's still fit, is a Brahim Diaz, or an Endrick, or a Gonzalo Garcia, or a Mastantuono. Are you telling me with absolute certainty we are going into that game with the thought that we're going to win? Compared to if we had a Rodrygo next to one of them. Because we won't. If Rodrygo's next to one of them, the drop-off in level isn't that big. And we're like, okay, we're missing Mbappe or we're missing Vinicius, but we still have Rodrygo, so we should still be okay because Rodrygo's a baller. But if the drop-off goes to Endrick or Brahim or any of those other two players, then it's massive. Then we're at risk of not progressing because our attack is lacking massively. We are Real Madrid. A club like Real Madrid cannot go into a league season with their only big game players or big game attackers, or high profile attackers being Vinicius Jr. or Kylian Mbappe. We need Rodrygo. And if he goes, we need to spend. But the club will not do that. So if that's the case, we need him. But with the club that is looking like they will be making a move and the situation he currently has at Real Madrid, I think it's only a matter of time before Rodrygo ends up in the sky blue of Manchester City, which will be very, very upsetting for me, but what can we do? That's the situation we're in. Anyway, I'm going to call the video there. Thanks for watching and peace.